Everyone know that it's the National Day of Prayer. Normally we have a ceremony on City Hall steps. This year we will be doing the National Day of Prayer ceremony at 6:30. The link for that is on the city's website. Those of you who are interested, join us for our National Day of Prayer. I have one of these pieces of paper. I had the agenda for that, but we have a number of clergy from the community that will be participating. The event's been organized by Minister Mary Rose, Pastor Chuck Tyree, Pastor Darnell Hill, Father Anthony DeMarco, Pastor Joel Rivera, Minister Letitia Noland, Elder Tarisha Martin, Pastor Jose Rosado, Pastor Al Gonzalez, and Apostle Bunkley. That's a lineup of the clergy that will be participating, so we welcome you all to that. So how are we doing? So this is our weekly town hall meeting, and thank you all again for joining us. It looks like we have a lot of city staff on. The way this works, anybody in the community that's interested in asking any questions, has any questions about help they need or programs that are going on in the city, just get our attention. If you're in a video, wave your hand. There's a chat box at the bottom of the screen. You can just enter a question in the chat box, or let us know what number you're on, and we'll unmute you. I believe it's *9. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you need to be *9 is to raise your hand, and if you do that, we'll get your question and we'll direct it to whichever department head can best answer that question for you. These town hall meetings have been useful. They will help us direct our resources so that we're best providing the resources that the community needs. I see that our health director, the executive director of Ledge Light Health District, has joined us, Steve Mansfield. Thank you for joining us, Steve. I'll turn to Steve in a few minutes. He can give us a quick rundown on how we're doing in this area. Steve, do you want to kick us off? We're just getting started. Do you want to give us just a brief rundown on Ledge Light's efforts and where we're at on different issues that you're dealing with?
Sure, Mike. Hi, everyone. Just going to give a brief overview of where we stand as a district in terms of the raw numbers of cases of COVID-19. So as last time we looked at them, we had 522 cases district-wide. 232 of those cases are in long-term care facilities. We monitor those daily. One of the most important things we're doing now is contact tracing. Contact tracing has been going on since day one of the pandemic. So we have a team of about 25 individuals, staff and volunteers, who monitor all the positive cases and follow up with all of the contacts of those cases. So the whole purpose of the contact tracing is to identify those people who have the illness, and then identify those who may have been exposed to the illness, and giving them the information they need to keep themselves safe and hopefully prohibit that disease transmission, that what we call community-based transmission. That's just going to become more and more of a daunting task as we get more and more cases in southeastern Connecticut. But we have the personnel and the resources to do it, and we've been doing it for a while now, so we're pretty good at it. That will continue for the foreseeable future. One of the biggest activities that we're undertaking now is trying to get the information from the State Health Department and the Governor's Office so we can provide it to those entities that may be able to reopen on the 20th. As everyone is probably aware, the Governor has put in place mechanisms and benchmarks that need to be met in order for the partial reopening to happen. We're monitoring those benchmarks closely, and hopefully it will happen in time for the 20th. If it doesn't happen, then I would suspect that that date may be pushed off. We get a lot of calls from our regulated establishments, cosmetology establishments, food service establishments, asking for specific direction about what they need to do to get ready. And of course, we want to give them information in as timely a manner as possible, but we don't want to give them information that may be contradicted when we do get clarification from the governor's office. So we'll continue to be in close contact with the Department of Public Health and the governor's office and relay that information as we become aware of it. I think that's the general update I have now, Mike. And if anybody has any questions as we move forward, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll do my best to answer them.
Thank you, Steve. And thank you for joining us. It's very helpful having you here if any specific questions come up regarding these health issues. A lot of our work, as you point out, in the last week or so has been fielding questions from our businesses, especially our restaurants, on plans to try to fire this economy back up on May 20th, at least under the restrictions that the governor is starting to outline for us. And a lot of this is unfolding as we're trying to work with it. But certainly from the city's point of view, we want to do everything we can so that the restaurants are able to open on the 20th to the extent that they're individually they're going to be able to handle the limitations on that opening. And we have our economic development director, Felix Reyes, in the meeting. He's going to give us a quick briefing on, or not so quick briefing. He's been just between his regular duties, keeping economic development moving in this city, and we have a lot of exciting projects that are still moving forward, and this is certainly important, from an economic development point of view, but also all of the myriad of issues trying to keep our small businesses, holding together while we try to restart the economy and get everybody back open again. I see another city councilor has joined us, Curtis Goodwin. Curtis is our liaison for economic development. Thank you for joining us. Felix, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, there's seems to be a problem. I raised my hand during Steve's discussion. You might have not seen that, but I do. Before we move forward, I do have a couple questions for Steve.
Oh, Alma, certainly. I apologize for that. That's the host's inability, but go ahead.
Yeah, so this is President Pro Tem Nertades. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the work that you do in partnering with the city in such a trying time. I have a couple questions as we move forward, as we look at the May 20th opening. There's going to be a lot of questions regarding just.
No, I can't.
I'm sorry, Alma, I can't hear you very well. Could you speak up a little bit or move closer to the microphone?
How's this?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'll start from the beginning. So just thank you for being such a great partner with the City of New London. I do have concerns as we move forward with the May 20th date. So we have a lot of restaurants that are very eager to open up. We have some general direction in what we have to do to maintain that social distancing. I'm sure there's going to be some guidance documents, maybe a protocol. How is the local health department going to be able to aid, support, not necessarily enforce, right? Because it's not part of your duty to do that. But how are we going to ensure that restaurants are following protocol?
That's a really good question. So I'll give a little history. Since the beginning of the pandemic, our sanitarians, and we have about a dozen of them, a portion of them have been continuing to do their duties, although modified. A lot of restaurants aren't open, so we have the ability to go out and do inspections of the restaurants as they stand now. And it's not just the standard tenets of the Connecticut Public Health Code 1940 B42 that we're looking at, but also the governor's executive orders and how they are enforced or implemented at these food service establishments. So we've been doing it all along, and with this rollout of new guidelines, as soon as we receive them and they're given to all of our food service establishments, our Ledgelight staff will be visiting all of those establishments that choose to operate under that the new guidelines for outdoor seating and whatever else comes out of the governor's office. So just like we're responsible for inspecting the roughly 1,200 food service establishments that we have district-wide, we have the staff in place to monitor, as I said, not only the things that contribute to foodborne illness, but also the mandates that will be set forth in the governor's executive order. So we're prepared to do that, and we'll be ready to go should this be put into place on the 20th.
So it sounds like you're confident that we are properly staffed. And the last question I have for you is that we know we're going to get some establishments or some part of the public that's going to be calling in, for concerns, right? Are you going to set up some kind of hotline, or what's your vision for that?
So we already have a number of systems to receive inquiries or complaints from the public via our Facebook page, via our website, and of course they can call us with their concerns. When we get those, they're triaged and they go through a central dispatch system. So our environmental health professionals are assigned specific complaints. We go out, we do the investigation, determine if there are violations of the public health code or of the governor's executive orders. If there are violations of the governor's executive orders, we do education. If we think they can't comply or won't comply, then they're referred to the state or local police for follow-up. So again, systems are in place. We've been doing it all along. So it won't be a change come the 20th.
Thank you. My concern, and this is mostly for the mayor as we roll this out, and also Felix Reyes, is that I think that we really need to put a lot of emphasis on, when we roll this out, that there are means for the general public to voice their concerns. And like you said, those mechanisms are already in place. I would just like to educate the public a little more before day one rolls out and people are asking, who do we call? So thank you, Steve. I really appreciate the update.
Sure.
Yep. Councilor Natatas, are you all set?
I am all set. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Yep. And I just want to say that over the course of the last 4 to 6 weeks, we have fielded many concerns, and Ledgelight Health District has been amazingly responsive, both following up and helping us to sort out those valid concerns, chase them down, and correct the situations. And so I think we have a process in place that will serve us well as we move forward on the 20th and afterwards. So with that, then let's turn to the economic development front and some more specifics on our efforts to help our businesses start up again, and also to bring some relief in the form of distribution of the emergency CDBG money that we ran, the surge program that Director Reyes has stood up. Felix, do you want to take over from there? And also, sure. By the way, feel free to, I think the hand raising should work. The chat box should work, or unmute yourself and ask your question. But go ahead, Felix.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mayor. I hope some of the updates and some of the things we're doing will stimulate some conversation and bring in some other department heads. So many know, the work that the Office of ODP is always working with other offices. We're constantly helping each other. We don't do things in silos. So hopefully this update that I give you will bring some other department heads in on this as well. I'll start with the building department, because we don't talk too much about that, because construction through the executive order did not stop that from continuing. We are still processing permits. We are still doing inspections. That is business as usual. So I encourage, if you are still working or are concerned about starting a project, or concerned about, would I be able to get building permits, that is still business as usual. We have not stopped those services. They have changed a little bit. Some things are not done inside the home. So please work with the building inspector. Sometimes we do it by either through video, by photograph. We're trying to be as creative as possible to make sure that the important improvements that are made to our homes and our businesses still can be done. So that's just a quick update from the building department. If you have any questions, you can certainly throw those in the chat. I'll be happy to answer those. But that's business as usual. Same thing with our Office of Planning and Zoning and Development. We do have someone in the City Hall right now that if you're looking for information or files or hard copies on projects, fence permits, that is still available. Just want to encourage you guys to reach out to Michelle, our zoning office, and Shelley Briscoe, our land use coordinator. They are there in the office. We set it up where it's kind of like a no contact. So if you're looking for certain files, we'll make copies for it. We'll kind of meet you in the back of City Hall and drop it off for you to pick it up. People are starting to do that now. So that office is still fully operational. Our CBDG office, and I see we have Judy Cox is here as well. So if you have any questions, but that office is working on the surge grant that the mayor had mentioned earlier. We are, I think, T-minus a day right now that we're to accept any applications. So please, if you are looking to submit an application for that grant, we have to receive that by the end of tomorrow. If for some reason there's something missing, or an application is not complete, we will reach out to you by the end of the day tomorrow and tell you essentially when we walk in on Monday. Hopefully it's in our inbox. We're not going to say no to any applications that were submitted and still need a couple follow-up notes. So please get that over to Tom Bombria at tbombria at newlondonct.org. Blight is still prevalent in all cities, and we're still addressing that. So if you have a blight concern, if you have anything that needs to be reported to the city, you can either contact me directly, or we have Q Alert, or contact Omi Morales directly, who is our blight officer. He is still out there doing his runs through the city. He gives me several updates, and things are still happening. Neighbors are, we're cleaning things up. People are being very responsive. So please, if you see something, say something to us so we can address it. And lastly, it's not to replicate or echo too much of what the mayor said. It's our effort right now is on our small businesses, starting with our help center that is still active. It's reaching out to our businesses, providing information. So please reach out to our help center. Adriana Reyes is the person behind that email, behind the call. There, she is qualified, trains daily on the latest and greatest things that are coming down from the federal government or the state, and is able to provide critical information for our businesses. And lastly, the restaurants, May 20th is a target date, but I just want to emphasize May 20th is just a date. That doesn't mean that the lights just automatically switch on May 20th. For some restaurants, it may be May 30th. It may be June 1st. That is just a date that the governor has given us to work with. But it is going to be a slow process, and we have to transition over from their typical indoor dining and to outdoor dining. And a lot of these restaurants have done a great job from going from dining to takeout. And I see there's going to be a natural progression from takeout to outdoor dining. So we are working with our business, our restaurateurs, our business owners, to please submit your plans to the city. so we can internally understand what the need is, and then make sure we expedite any approvals or process and get information out. Again, the city's position is that we're not looking to create a plan of what's to close. We're really looking at each individual restaurant and what their specific needs are in addressing that. I think that is much more efficient and effective to get them open in a timely manner. So I'll stop there. Hopefully that has spurred some more questions and information that the public wants to know about, and I'm here to help. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Reyes. Certainly an excellent point on how we're addressing, and certainly all of our businesses, we're going to take a very personal approach. We're asking them to reach out to our Office of Development and Planning, and we'll work with them to take care of their individual needs. All of our businesses are unique. Our restaurants have different types of facilities. Some are more prepared to be able to move outside, spread their wings. Some don't have the room to do that. So the city's working with everybody to try to accommodate their individual needs. And there are, it's going to be tough, but we're excited about working and finding opportunities for the different establishments. One of the offices in our city that has all of them have been continuing to do their work, but the work of the city clerk's office, just everything they do, whether it's property transactions, recording deaths, recording births, the staff there is still working hard and has really done a great job adjusting to this new environment. So I'd like to have City Clerk Jonathan Ayala weigh in and maybe tell us a little bit about how life is with City Hall closed, but the clerk's office still up and running.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mayor, for your words, and thank you to all the councilors who are on the call, as well as all the constituents and the clergy. Yeah, so we've had the benefit of being able to manage our office virtually in terms of just doing things by mail. So we've been concentrating more on doing things by mail. So anyone who is looking to request any records, whether that's a marriage, death, or birth, can still do that via mail. And if you have any questions and not sure how to go about that process, the information is on our web page, as well as all the documentation that you'll need, or you can just give us a call. We have people who are obviously continuing to try to purchase homes, and we have a large group of attorneys and law firms that we work closely with, and we've been helping them through the process as well. Now, one of the things that the community should know is that our land records, I would say 75% of our land records, we, within the last year and a half, have made available online to the public for free. So you're able to go online onto the city clerk's page. We have a link on there. You just follow the link and click on, and you can search the land records by either individual's name or street, and the records are free to view. However, if you are looking to purchase the actual document, you will have to pay, and the system that we utilize already provides a method of doing that. You just simply put in your credit card information. As far as the what else that we do in this office is that a lot of people have been calling us is if you're looking to get married. So the statute requires that when a person wants to get married, the individuals, that they have to complete the process by coming into our office. They have to both be present to sign. So what we're telling everyone is we also have made it available and very easy. The marriage application is also on the city clerk's page. You can go on there and fill it out online. And once you submit that application, we automatically get it here in our office. It is registered, so we know that you've submitted it. And from that point on, what we're telling the community is, when you're ready to come in to complete the marriage license, just give us a call and tell us that you're coming. You and your future spouse are coming to complete that marriage license, and we'll go ahead and open City Hall for you and have you come in to do that. An additional part of what we do is we handle elections. So although that isn't occurring at this present time, we do see it coming on the horizon. So we're planning right now for an August 11th primary. And the Secretary of State's office has sent out word and a message to all the town clerk's offices that they're going to be mailing out an absentee ballot application to every registered voter in the state of Connecticut. So what does that mean? Although the absentee ballot is a mechanism that is to be utilized under certain guidelines, the Secretary of State's office has really relaxed that guideline in terms of interpreting who's allowed to use it. So I'm not going to speak for them, but I will say that an absentee ballot application is available online as well, and you should be receiving one in the mail from the state anyway. But to all those people who you do know who may be elderly, will not be going to the polls, just keep in mind that you do have the availability to cast your vote by an absentee ballot. Simply fill out the application and mail it to our office. And then when the absentee ballots become available, I will be mailing you one. And then from there, you can fill it out. And future guidance will come out on how you can submit that ballot. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to give us a call here at the clerk's office. We don't mind helping you out and getting you the answers that you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Great job in the clerk's office. Another department that has found creative ways to adjust to this current situation is our recreation department. Tommy Majors has been leading our recreation department for over 40 years. I'm sure he has in those 40 years confronted challenges like he's confronted in the last 4 weeks. And he is in the meeting along with Sharon Bousquet. They're doing a great job. Tommy, do you want to give us a report? Or Sharon?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. From the Recreation Department, we are currently working very hard on trying to put our summer childcare and summer camp together so that we can support the community and the families that are returning to work, and they'll have a place for their children to go during the summer. We're working very closely with the school system. They're still a bit in limbo as to what summer school and what their services will provide. So we're trying to work with them in terms of building availability with the understanding that those group sizes need to be much smaller. So our availability and intent is to hopefully start on June 22nd and provide 8 weeks of summer camp this summer, but we are still just waiting for those that final partnership from the school before we can roll that out to the community. We're also putting together our lifeguards, as the mayor has talked about in terms of opening the Green Harbor Beach for the community. Again, we're just waiting on the state recommendations, but we will be prepared as a department to have that ready to go for Memorial Day weekend. Tommy?
Yes, I do apologize getting on late. The wax for the string and the cans just didn't work at that present time. But I will also say Office of Youth Affairs, other part of our department, has been working very hard, and they have a great program for us set up for the summertime pending on the funding. This year, we're depending on 75 applicants or employees from the Department of Labor, 20 from DCF, and 20 from the foundations. But if we do receive the money, we're encouraging the youth to compete an interest form, which the staff and the staff will also try to contact applications from 2019. I strongly feel that the youth should apply for these jobs because first come, first serve, and it really is a great method of learning and getting the process on the workforce at a young age. We also hope that our students will be, especially for the seniors, sign up for the Cool Direction program, which is for a senior for seniors who will have the opportunity to get post-secondary planning and preparations, a means of getting a driver education, college tours, community service projects, employment applications, resume, how to do resumes, get financial assistant aid on how to get financial aid for schooling for those who are interested in, and just a wonderful year, means of every year that you get yourself prepared for life. For you to contact or get your for those who are interested in the contract would be Sydney Alvarez, and her email is javarez@newlondonct.us. So I hope the youth out there will definitely be interested in applying for these opportunities. And far as for all the departments, I'd like to thank you very much for all of what you've been doing due to these challenging times. But let me say this to you: let's always keep New London great as it is. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for all your work and your staff, and also the Parks and Rec Commission that you have backing up, working hard for you. That was a great meeting that your commission had last night, which is another point I'd like to make out that comes to mind, is that all of our city agencies, boards, and commissions have fully transitioned to these virtual meetings, and they're going well. And you can participate in these meetings by going to the city website, and you'll find the link to the particular meeting that you're interested in, and you'll also find the full agenda of what's planned to be taken up at those meetings on the website. So one thing that this pandemic has not stopped, and it has not stopped your ability to participate in your local government and your ability to participate in your in the city's boards and commissions. One great partner that our Parks and Recs department has is our Department of Public Works. And we have the Director of Public Works with us. They are still maintaining our parks, getting our parks ready for reopening when we can. And so, Brian, do you want to weigh in with a brief report on how our dedicated Public Works employees are making out under the last couple of months?
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, Public Works, we basically provide a support function for various agencies in the city and commissions. And, our goal over the past month and more was we are on the job. We're providing safe and procedures and environments for the various city agencies. And that includes cleaning, sanitation. We're also making adjustments to the workplaces, both for those that are working now, but we're also in advance of more people coming back to work if that happens in the next couple of weeks. So we're working with every department. We want every employee of the city to feel protected, supported, and their safety is our #1 priority. We've been maybe fortunate or just a natural result. We have not had an infection within our department, and but we want to keep it that way. And I am a little concerned that as the weather gets better and time goes on, that people don't, you know, the public and people within the city don't kind of let their guard down. We've done well this far, and we really want to maintain that. We have relaxed our, I guess, restrictions, if you will, at the transfer station. We have limited access now, and there's a sign there. It's also noted on the website. So currently, our terms up there are that residents can use the facility. However, we are not exchanging cash back and forth for the obvious safety reasons. So our terms are, if it's somebody who has an account, a regular user, they can go through, they get weighed, and they get billed automatically. We're also accepting credit cards as a means of payment. Our terms as stated, credit card only. We do require a mask on all people that would be entering the transfer station. And we do ask for cooperation that the patrons wait at the entrance before entering, and that they take direction from the attendant in the yard. And so we have some control. And most people have been fine. Some people are kind of maybe stir crazy a little bit, or they're not taking the seriousness of you know, the potential harm for the next couple of weeks. And we're just trying to keep everybody patient, and we want to have good procedures, and we don't want to kind of become vulnerable now. Otherwise, things are going well. That Rec didn't notice it, but if you look in the Stanton parking lot, there's some containers that are at the back end of the parking lot near the entrance across from the police station. We are starting to transition out of the Martin Center, and that's going very well. And those containers are going to contain recreational equipment going forward. So we're working on that to support Rec in that phase move over. And we've also used this opportunity of some people working remotely. We did go down in the IT area of the basement, first floor of the Stanton building, and we totally gutted that, leveled the floor, cleaned the walls, and we're putting new flooring and making that a much more effective, easier to clean, safer environment for when that staff would return. And we're about finished with that project. So that's pretty much it for Public Works. As an ongoing habit, if anybody has concerns about anything they see around the city, we appreciate feedback. And on the front page of the website, there's a little button called Service Request. It has a little icon of a gear. It's easy to fill out. When that is sent, that goes directly to me in Public Works, and then I delegate that appropriately throughout the department. And that's been a very effective tool in just getting feedback on a variety of items. And that's it for now, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
And thank you and your department for all the hard work that you do. And that's a good point. We try to constantly spread the word about the service request button. If we get your service request, we try to be responsive and get to it quickly. And that's the easiest way to help us organize those types of requests. So there's a number of departments I still want to touch on. I want to get to Human Services and of course our police department and our fire department. Why don't we go straight to Jeanie Milstein, who is helping to manage all of the human needs that we have right now in this community as a result of this pandemic. Jeanie, do you want to weigh in?
Sure, I'd be happy to. And thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the city councilors who are on the call and to the entire community. Once again, New London has come together in the most magnificent ways, and everybody is being so helpful and just wanting to do more and more and more. We launched our helpline last week, and when I'm done, I will put the phone number and email in the chat box. To date, most of the calls that we have received are regarding food. food insecurity was an issue before, and now it's even more of a significant issue. So we are addressing that. We are helping individual families, and we are looking at all the systemic issues around that. We are releasing within the next couple of days the RFP for the CDBG humanitarian block grant. And I'd like to thank President Dominguez. We had a good call yesterday. We went through the RFP. And again, we are looking for nonprofits to apply that will be addressing the priority areas of basic needs and also looking at some of the long-term systemic and infrastructure issues. I see that Bruce McDonald is on the call, and we are now, thanks to Bruce, developing a project with the Rotary and the school system, whereby in our senior center, where school children, members of the Rotary, will be writing letters to people in our community who are in nursing homes, and we will be doing a mass distribution of that. We'll have the kids draw pictures and also write some letters. I'd like to thank a number of chefs in our community under the leadership of Chef Tom that have now, and the Elks Club. The Elks Club has donated their building and their kitchen so that chefs, many of whom are unemployed, are still generously giving of their time. And we are making meals for families who are in need in our community, going through some nonprofits and other organizations like the Hispanic Alliance. And again, I will put the number in the chat box and the email address, and please feel free to reach out for us at any time. Oh, and another group, under people from Service Master and a number of other people sold some signs, and all the money that was raised from the signs will be donated to the New London Meal Center. Quality Printers also sold some signs, and that money went to the Neighbor to Neighbor Fund. So again, our community, as Tommy Major said earlier, is the greatest.
Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you for all your enthusiasm and for everything you're doing to help our community get through this. Let's turn our attention to the great work that our police department is doing, as always, but certainly it's tougher under these conditions. Chief Reichard, one issue that's, and the regular business of the police department doesn't end just because we're under social distancing rules and all of that. Why don't you weigh in, Chief, and also touch on that hot button issue of the unregistered off-road dirt bikes that have once again become a scourge on the community as the good weather hit.
Thank you, Mayor Passero. I'm actually doing a virtual from the vehicle right now on patrol. I hope everyone can hear me. Is my volume working? Is my microphone working? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm out with my officers out here today. We have had a number of complaints in the last week or so since the weather got nice of the illegal dirt bike and ATV riders throughout the community. Since Sunday, we've taken 3 off the road, 2 ATVs and 1 dirt bike earlier today, with the arrests with all 3 of those. About a year and a half ago, the city passed a new ordinance that outlaws these vehicles from being operated on a city street inside the municipality. There's also state laws in place that prohibit them from being on the road. With the city ordinance that was passed by the city council, we have the ability to seize your vehicle and order it destroyed at the end of the court case. We can also issue a fine of up to $1,000 for your first offense for being caught operating on the city streets on one of these vehicles. So we encourage everybody, if you're in the neighborhoods and you see these taking place, please don't hesitate to call us. Pick up the phone, give us a call. Use our anonymous tip 411 number. You can send photos of these, or you can give us a location of where they're storing them at. People, they want us to go out and do a lot of enforcement with this. It's a little bit difficult. It's a little sticky wicket. We can be out there, but we are not allowed to pursue based on state policies and department policies. So we do not pursue these motorcycles, but we try try to enforce them in a smarter way by locating where they're kept, where the people are coming from and who owns them, and then try to go after them a different way that way. That's one of our goals for this year, is to remove as many from the streets as we can. I myself have been out there in the neighborhood walking around and seen the pack of them driving past me. I picked up my cell phone because I was out for a walk, and I also called our dispatch center and gave as much detail and information as I could. So I recommend that to everybody else. If you do see this taking place, they are dangerous. Pick up the phone and call. If you wish to remain anonymous, use our tip 411 number. Just one other thing I'd like to express out there is we are 24/7 agency. Our report room is open, even though our building is more or less secured right now. You can file reports online through our Cop Logic program. You can also retrieve your accident reports online if you look under Carfax.com for the New London Police crash reports. And if all else fails, pick up the phone and call the record department, the police department. My clerks are there to assist you, and they will do the best they can to get your information in a timely fashion through email or through regular U.S. Post Office. So if there's any other questions, please feel free to ask. I'm available 24/7. I have email, and you can call the office whenever you need. We're here to answer your questions. We are your partner in the community, the London Police Department. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for the great work you're doing there. The other arm of our community safety is the fire department, and Chief Curcio is on the call with us. Fire department provides obviously our fire prevention, our fire suppression, and our emergency medical services. And you've been very busy as always. Tom, do you want to give us a brief overview of your efforts?
Sure, Mayor. Thank you for hosting this once again. I just wanted to echo something that Director Brian Sear had said earlier about, we're still concerned about protecting our members, protecting all the employees in the city of New London. And at first, it was a real challenge to try to get PPE for all of our members. A lot of the stuff that the state was putting out was either expired, they didn't have enough, but I think we finally caught up. We have safe numbers right now that should protect our members, because we are responding to a lot of calls every day. And so I think we're at a good point right now. I have posted to the right there, if anybody can reach out to small businesses. I really feel as though this is going to be your last chance to try to get some free surgical masks from the state, which will be next week. We would be picking those up Wednesday. So if you have anybody that you know of, any of the small businesses, businesses with 50 employees or less, you really need to get on that website, or they need to get on that website, request those surgical masks. We will pick them up. There's no need for the business owner themselves to pick them up. We will do that, and we will distribute those. But I believe next week is going to be the last week for that, and then they're going to have to go to individual vendors, which is not easy either at this time. Something that Director Reyes pointed out was we're working with the local restaurants, and our fire marshal's office was inundated today with calls about patio service. They have to apply for a different license to do that if they don't have that already. So our Fire Marshal Vern Scow and Fire Inspector David Heine are working very closely with Felix and the businesses to get that done as soon as possible so they can open in a timely manner. And then Kristen Clark had just reached out to me this afternoon from Main Street, also requesting supplies. So I am going to, I also sent her that website that's listed to the right, but I'm going to call her tomorrow. I did get a website from the state that has hundreds of vendors on those, on that list, and hopefully she'll be able to acquire enough PPE. A lot of the restaurants are already concerned that they're not going to have enough to open. But knock on wood, everybody is continuing to be safe and healthy at the New London Fire Department, and we hope that continues. And if there's any questions, please feel free to either email me or put something in the chat line there. But thanks once again for hosting this. I think it's great.
Thank you, Chief Curcio, and thank you for the great work that you're doing. You mentioned Kristen Clark and her work with New London Main Street. I'll just take this opportunity to remind everybody that it's Thursday night, so that means it's happy hour, back porch happy hour. We're encouraging residents to support our local restaurants that are open on a takeout basis. So go out tonight, get your dinner. If you would normally have been going out to dinner, don't hesitate to go out and do it on a takeout basis. Also, consider gift certificates. Buy a gift certificate now for a meal, for a meal later, and that will help support our restaurants and local businesses to get through these tough times. We will, mentioning the restaurants, we did have a really successful meeting with the restaurants on Monday this week. We are going to be arranging a follow-up meeting with our restaurants to keep moving that ball down the court and getting ready for May 20th. So we're working with Director Reyes now to set that up. It'll be next week, and we'll get word out on that sometime tomorrow, as early as we can get it arranged. Bruce McDonald, your name came up. Bruce is a liaison with the Chamber of Commerce for our city and also with the Eastern Connecticut Tourism District. And Bruce, why don't you give us an update on some of the areas that you're involved with?
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. The Eastern Chamber is running with a slimmed down staff, but is attempting via the online communications vehicles to keep businesses throughout its service area up to date on availability of assistance and whatever other information that they can use. In addition, as you mentioned, I represent New London on the Eastern Regional Tourism District. And we, at the present time, are struggling because, we've got to get promotional messages out there, but the flip side of that is you can't invite people to come and visit you when state policy does not allow it, frankly. And from a health standpoint, we don't need it at this point, even though at some point, as we begin to open up the economy, we're going into the marketplace with appropriate messaging in an attempt to provide the kind of visitation, and safely done, that will help our various businesses. We have a meeting we had a meeting today, and the results haven't been announced, but we picked a media advertising public relations firm to represent the region, and that's the entire region. It's known offhandedly as Mystic Country, but as all of us know, there's much more to Eastern Connecticut than Mystic, and as important as Mystic is as a tourism destination. So we're working hard to give what was called in my presence not too long ago, geographical equity to the promotional materials that will be going out. We have, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, on the 14th, the State Office of Tourism is going to be providing the up-to-date guidelines on what we can do and what we can't do. But it's critically important that New London gets a higher profile in whatever messaging that is going out to draw tourists here. And finally, Jeanie mentioned this, I'm with a Rotary Club as well, and we are excited about what I'm calling Reach Out New London, and that is a community-wide campaign to provide letters, notes from the students, drawings, and whatever else is appropriate to those who are in isolated situations in nursing homes, where throughout the state, nursing homes has been a center of this terrible situation. So we're working up, we're very well with Jeanie, who is great and enthusiastic and is a credit to the city, a basic operational plan. We know what we want to do. We have to figure out precisely how we want to do it, and we want to do it in a hurry. And that's basically it.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you for all your efforts on behalf of the city. So we have, and I want to thank, we're getting close to the end of the hour. I want to thank the city councilors that have taken the time to join us today. I see Riona, President Pro Tem Alma Natada's on the phone, and Curtis Goodwin. So I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in. Curtis, Riona, I think you're able to just unmute yourselves and jump in. Alma, feel free.
Thanks, Mayor. I appreciate that. This is President Pro Tem Nattada. So I just want to thank all the leaders of the city in these critical times. Not only your administration, but leaders within our community step up. And it's great to see all this collaboration on this line. May 20th is around the corner. I know we're not going to see an influx of people running into restaurants, or business owners may not be ready to open up, but I feel confident that we're doing everything that we can to prepare. And so once again, thank you to your staff. Thank you to the local health department, and for those individuals on this call. Thanks.
Thank you, Alma. Riona?
This is Councilor Dice speaking, and I'd just like to say thank you. This is my second time participating in this meeting, and I am just in awe with just how the community is working together to meet the needs. And I do appreciate Chief Curcio. For the Drop and Learning Center, I had the opportunity to get some of the masks, and I know my staff and children will appreciate that, because that is one of the requirements by the state. So thank you for making things a little bit easier as we deal with this complicated time. Councilor Dice, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Goodwin, are you still with us? I know I see him on there. I know he's with us, but he may
help if
there he is.
Probably
may pass the road.
Yes, go ahead. You're a bit of an echo. Go ahead.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we have a terrible connection, Curtis. But let me say, on behalf of the entire city council, I want to thank you for your partnership and the work that you're doing. Like the city staff, you're fulfilling all of the duties that you got elected for. I don't think anybody could have predicted that you would have been serving through this type of crisis. And what you're doing is amazing. So you've spent the month working on the budget. We're in the second month of the annual budget adoption process. That takes a lot of time and just a lot of digesting all the city data. So you've been by to see how City Hall renovation is going. As you know, we're in the middle of renovating the historic City Council chambers, and I can't wait to get you all back in there at your desks. I know we all miss it. It's been the seat of this government for well over probably about 130 years or so. So it's coming out beautiful. I know some of you had a chance to come by and see it. The elevator, I'm happy to say, is up and running. So, but for this pandemic, we could actually have public meetings in this building again with the elevator functioning. But we'll be there soon, and I thank you for your service and assisting the staff the way you do. So I don't see any more questions. It's exactly 5 o'clock. We're exactly 1 hour into this. Last call for any final comments. Let's check in with everybody again next Thursday at 4 o'clock as we get closer to trying to reopen the city, continue our success. The census, I'm being reminded about the census, and boy, would I get spanked by Judy Cox and Dr. Fisher and his wife, who are the chairman of our census. Thank you, Tina, for that. Yes, as a final remark, let's leave this meeting today and let's spread the word that we need everybody in our city to be counted. We have a complete count committee that's working very, very hard. The census is ongoing. The importance of it is not to be understated. We need everybody in this community to be counted in order for us to get us done. So you know what? I think that's a good way to leave this off. Next Thursday's meeting, we'll put an emphasis on the census. We'll highlight the census, and we'll get some input from our complete count committee on how we're doing. So Judy, there's the charge to your group. Let's get our percentage up by next Thursday so we can brag about it. And with that, I want to say good night and good evening to everybody. Final reminder, it's the National Day of Prayer. We'll be having our city ceremony at 6:30. The link for that is on the city website. So good evening and stay safe and be well.